Hello, I'm Lindley Gooden, reformed journalist and curious human. Welcome to Explainiacs. Now, I love experts. They're amazing. People who know their stuff, whatever the walk of life, whatever the impact on our lives. And this podcast is all about jumping into their world. Quick, in-depth, loud and friendly conversations about the things that we'd all love to know, but don't know yet. One by one, we'll talk about anything from the cutting edge of AI to nuclear physics, all the way to making a movie, to magic. Why not? It doesn't matter. If it's important, fascinating or fun, we're here to explain it.
Explainiacs Biography.
Now, I know somebody who's perfect to do exactly that. Edosa Odaro is the head of data services at AXA. Now, in work, he spent over 20 years sharpening the cutting edge of data and digital at organisations including Barclays Group, to the European Commission, to British Sky Broadcasting. He's also one of the friendliest people you'll meet today, and he knows a thing or two about AI and the implications of. Edosa, hello.
Hello, Lindley.
How lovely to have you with us today. You're the first.
It looks very good. My first time in a studio like this.
Is it really?
So it'll be an interesting experience.
New subject.
Artificial intelligence is software that writes itself.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is a set of technologies programmed to think or act like humans. They problem solve, they find patterns and trends from vast amounts of data, and that data is normally based on our behavior, our comments, movements, buying habits, and online preferences. Now, AI is already used widely in business, healthcare, education, games, retail, and of course, the device you're listening on. Unfortunately, if the data the AI interprets is too narrow or biased or based on our prejudices, well, it can also make questionable choices.
Somebody is going to strap a machine gun to these things and they're going to hunt me down in swarms.
And also, just let us fall down the rabbit hole for a second and kind of describe the landscape of data and AI as you see it at the moment, good and bad, and what could be improved.
I think on the one hand, you've got a world that is very, very promising with big improvements and big advances in healthcare, in security, in insurance, in financial services, and in the kind of easy, if you like, to come by apps and things like that, to do our shopping and things like that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, very scary. When you think about the kinds of, the things that actually make the news, you think about, the discrimination within AI, the really big issues around diversity and around, I suppose, exclusion that AI is actually causing.
Yeah.
AI can actually stop vulnerable people from getting access to services. And so you've got this really, really broad sort of spectrum there.
Yeah.
How many of you feel like you are pumping information into the cloud every day that could be used to manipulate your life in some way?
All of this is very confusing, and we as humans tend to be afraid of the things we do not understand.
New subject. Description.
What are we here to talk about today? Because there are really important things around data and AI which perhaps aren't hitting the mark yet. Why are we here?
I think a key one is around when you think about data, and obviously AI sits on data and it's actually driven by data. So straight away, it's all around what kind of data is it getting? What's the quality of that data? How representative is it? We've heard the great things, detecting cancer and the likes of that, but there's also some big concerns around where AI is actually going. You hear about some of those really embarrassing sort of situations, and some of them quite scary. We've
heard about, now I won't mention any names, we've heard about the racist AI.
Yes.
You may have heard about that. You can easily search for it online. But
Yes.
how did that happen? How did something that is supposed to start from a clean slate with really good data, how did that end up being a little bit, and there are more examples like that, unrepresentative?
How did it happen? It's about bias in the data that actually drives AI.
Issues. Please describe.
So what AI does is, in effect, you point a bit of data at it, and then it looks at that and goes, oh, okay, I understand how you work, and so I can predict, I can help you. I can pretend to be you. And then what that does is, in effect, it creates a mirror of you and I. So the way we think, the things that we do, the way we make decisions gets captured into AI.
The thing is, Edosa, is sometimes I don't want to look at myself in the mirror. You know, we've all got plenty of bias. Is that what you really want? I mean, are we on a trajectory here? Whether you're working in financial services, as you have done for many years, or if you're working in other industries, do we really want that mirror held up to us? Is it safe?
It's so difficult because in some ways you want, and this is where it's all coming to, people want AI to be this perfect system that actually is fair, it does the right kinds of things. But you look at society, look at ourselves. Do we do the right kinds of things? Do we make decisions that we can hold up and go, that's fair?
But why do we expect the worst out of the use of data and the way it's used right now and so on? Why isn't it utopia rather than dystopia? Because if it's used in healthcare really well, wow, that's a fantastic future. What's the problem?
When you look under the covers of bias, it links to very, very clearly into diversity. And in some ways, it links into inclusion. And so when you think about it from that viewpoint, if the people who, in effect, are the, if you like, creators of AI are not as diverse as society and not representative of society, it's very, very difficult to expect that they'll create AI. And we forget that sometimes, that we create AI. It doesn't create itself, it's created by humans. And so those humans, the way we think, the way our backgrounds and the level of diversity within those teams become reflected, if in effect, in AI.
Solutions. Explain.
How do you really start to do that and start to, I don't know, predict better, not just predict more?
Yeah, I think the first thing you've got to do is actually, and it's funny anyway, I mean, there's 3 steps within AI. One bit is just around underlying AI is how do you capture the data? And the other bit around that is actually what within that data set, if you like, do you present to AI? So as an example, you might think, oh, you know what, I want AI to be able to detect a male from female. And you say, you know what, I'm going to present a bunch of photographs into AI such that it can actually do that selection for us. And you imagine that you're in a society that was 50-50, but actually what you present to AI is skewed data. It's 80% male. And what AI then does, it in its head it's discriminatory from the get-go, because actually you've presented skewed data to it.
Yeah.
So you've got to get to a point, first of all, where AI, the data you feed into AI is actually representative of society.
Yeah.
Creating a solution.
How important, I think we know if we're reasonable people, but how important is diversity in general in the tech industry? Because actually it is underrepresented. You've worked in financial services for a long time and you know what it's like there.
So there's, of course, the headlines are all around diversity in gender, in religion, in race, and the likes, in age as well. But I think I look at, underlying all of that is what you really want is to bring diverse ideas together. And actually, in some ways, if you think about diversity from, imagine what would happen if we just shut our eyes and actually you can't see what's in front of you, and actually what you're guessing is the conversations, is the ideas coming together. So, but before you can bring them together, which is the inclusion bit, they've got to be there. And that's where we talk about diversity in the people and in, by implication, in the data.
In the real world, I wonder whether there are good examples of it being done right, where perhaps possibly, it's to use a well-worn phrase, your heart's in the right place, and that's why you design a much more representative bit of computing that spits out a result that you can believe. Who's doing it right?
It's a very, very difficult one. I tell you why it's so difficult. Because in some ways, even those who would like to do it right have got a bit of competition, because unfortunately, what's happening is, given a lot of history, and there's lots of reasons why this is happening, the actual availability of resources, the workforce you and I available to actually do work, is not actually representative of society. you don't, for instance, in technology, have the same percentage of, say, women wanting to actually do technology as you have in open society. So actually, if you tried to get a representative group within your organization, you've got to compete with everyone else trying to do the same thing.
Please demonstrate.
What do you have to do to apply the right principles? So, we're looking at hopefully a utopian future where actually good business is what's done and customers follow you. And we're going there. Customers follow you because they like you, because they trust you, because you offer what they want at that time.
Yes. I mean, you hit a very, very sensitive sort of subject in some ways, because then you're crossing the line into, if you like, trust. And that's where it's all kind of going now. And, a lot of people think about experience, it's about customer experience. But actually, in some ways, the experience bit is all around, do I like the way I feel when I interact with this organization? Do I not? The other extreme end of the scale is almost about existence in some ways. And that's where you're talking about data that protects, data that actually stops really bad things from happening. A lot of talk at the moment is around privacy, how much data should go into the systems and how much should not.
Trust is so important. I bet everyone listening to this is thinking AI, whoa, trust.
It's difficult. And to be very fair, as organizations, we've got to put our hands up and say, do you know what? We haven't earned the trust in many ways, And I think that some of that just comes, you think about how you get to trust human beings, between you and I, is about transparency. You've got to be speaking simply. You've got to be open around what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. And until organizations get to that level where they can actually, it's crazy about data in some ways. It's in some ways it's huge in value, but it's very difficult to think, how much is your personal information actually worth? How much would you sell it for?
That's right.
And so what the currency is moving from money to trust. And unless organizations actually get it, the competition moves into that space now, into who can we trust and who can we not.
I was a journalist for a long time. I did a lot of news. I interviewed tens of thousands of people over the years, and I always tried, and I think was honest and fair and accurate, believe it or not. That's right. But there was a point, and I won't mention the example, but everyone out there will know it very well if you're British, where a broadcaster was caught out for recutting a trailer to its programme. Right. And they flipped it round and they got into a lot of trouble for it because it didn't represent necessarily, you can refer to the legals for this, but it didn't represent necessarily what happened in the real world when they were filming. So the lesson to that was, imagine what it would be like to be caught out. Just think about what it would be like to have to admit to your colleagues and your friends that you were wrong. Now, does that sort of light, that personal light, need to be shown on the development of technologies like AI so that data privacy is good, that we know what we're offering, that we kind of know that the services are sales 1 minute, helping the next? Is that transparency and the fear of being caught out important to develop better AIs?
It absolutely is. Absolutely. I think, part of the challenge is, I think, because of the state of where we are with organizations, you can almost argue it's a bit of an embarrassing picture. And so even those who are sort of, I suppose, are aware that diversity is a great thing and that transparency is a great thing, they know that their current state is too embarrassing to actually expose. And so you've got this very difficult situation now where even for those who are willing to move to move the bar, actually get there, it feels raw, it feels too early, it feels too embarrassing to expose.
What about the age-old question of jobs? Hey, I like doing what I do.
Oh my goodness!
We'll do it very quickly because it's really important, and it's talked about a lot.
Yes.
I don't understand how to program and develop an AI or use that piece of equipment, therefore I'm out of a job. Are jobs at risk, or are they just going to have to change a bit?
I am afraid that they are at risk. And I think some of the projections are saying that you're looking at probably about 50% of jobs actually disappearing. There's a whole raft of projections around what jobs those are. But for those that actually remain, they would absolutely be transformed. They would look very different to what they are today.
Is that just a case of just learning new skills about taking your interests, whatever you're good at, and doing things like that and bringing those into your work? Because if we're in an ideas generation, which I think we are, you mentioned it earlier on, well, hey, that's actually a really exciting thing to be.
Yes.
Just that you won't necessarily have that same daily grind.
Yes.
Your job will change.
Yes. Yeah, in some ways, yes, you're right. I think what AI... This might sound a bit odd, actually. I think humans, and there's a bit of history to this, to be fair. Humans have, over the years, become more and more like computers and like technology. Yeah. In fact, if you trace it back into history, the first so-called computer was a human, right? So we had human computers, and we moved away now into actual computers. It's unimaginable that humans are computers these days. In some ways, what AI is going to potentially do for us is take on some of those computer-like tasks out of humans and allow us humans become more human. And so in terms of the jobs of the future, of course, there's going to be a lot of focus around jobs that help power new technology, new AI, and things like that. But it's also going to be a focus around human-like jobs, like what we're doing right now, having conversations, being empathic, being personable, interacting in a social sort of way with us, ourselves, human beings.
A couple of quick fun questions. If there was a question that you would like to be asked about this, that everyone's misunderstanding or nobody's asked you before, what would you like to be asked or answer?
Well, I think it's really, when it comes to AI, when it comes to diversity, it's really, how do we go about fixing the problem? And I think a big part of that is got to be around what we do as individuals and within organizations. How do you create, the kind of atmosphere that actually allows a diversity to happen and for people to actually feel inclusive?
Who would you like to come in and start to work in these areas?
I think you've got to find people who understand that kind of balance, if you like, between, we've got to be technical, we've got to have a sense of what it takes to actually do these kinds of things, but we've also got to remember the other side of things is people. How can you connect people? How can you get people to interact? Because underlying all that, this balance between people and technology is where we've got to be able to get to drive the future balance within society and within organizations.
Explainiacs. Predictions.
We've talked around data, technology, AI, the principles behind it, diversity, but also, the importance of doing it right and that it could actually help us if we do. I don't think I can answer your question, are we there yet? I think the answer is no. Many reasons why and many details in that answer. But do you think there are glimmers of hope and that we are going to go off in the right direction? Do you think that, honestly?
I absolutely do. I think that done in the right way and channeled, at the right sorts of things, there's such potential. It's incredible. And one of the things that it does is actually allow us almost, if you like, exponentially increase our intelligence. So imagine that, in effect, what it's doing, and you can see that already with the whole, the issues around bias and diversity. What it's doing is actually amplifying and magnifying all of these challenges. Yeah. Imagine a world where actually what is amplifying is the positives.
Does it make you smile? Do you think about the use of data and technology and AI and all the other processing that goes with that? Does it make you smile or does it make you run for the hills?
There is lots of reasons to be optimistic, but also quite a number of reasons to fear. I think when you think about AI going to be the thing that completely revolutionizes the way we live as human beings, and it's incredible to think about where it can actually take us. But on the other hand, it could literally lead to mankind completely being destroyed. It's a scary kind of picture. I think on the balance, I like to be optimistic. Yeah. I think that we can actually get to a point where those benefits of AI and those benefits of data are actually realized, and some of those risks and concerns are kept to the limit.
It's always nice to end on a high, isn't it? It really is. Well, that's it for now. This is the first of many. It's going to be a wonderful and often weird journey, I'm absolutely sure. For now, thanks very much to you, Edosa, for joining us. It's just great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Lindley.
It's really good.
It's good to be here.
It's been wonderful. It's such a big issue, not just for some, but for all of us. But it does need some fundamental help. People across society have to be involved with that. And it is coming. It's coming very soon, so get ready. Now, a quick call out to you. We need you to tell us about amazing experts in your life, all things that you'd love to understand. Surprising, fun, fascinating people around you who can explain like no other. We all know somebody, don't we? So let's jump into their world too. Just get in touch. You can do that at explainiacs.com. Wherever you are in the world, we'll do our best to get into their head soon. But it is time to go. Thanks for listening. If you can, share, like, subscribe. You'll find us being social on various media. And of course, let us know if there's something that you need to understand. Until then, bye-bye.